Hello, good morning everybody. Welcome back aboard Sea Urchin. Well, I've managed to find another opportunity in my calendar to come out and film a little bit of fishing. As mentioned on my last one, today it's really going to be focused on low fishing and fishing little rubber shads. That's what I'm planning to do today. It's quite early, just gone 5:30 in the morning. I've taken the opportunity to nip out now. It looks like the wind's going to lift a little bit after dinner today, so I don't have my regular trip on, but not one to waste time. I thought, yeah, I'll come out and have a go. Today we've got a 5 metre tide, which is kind of in the middle. It's on the larger side for spending the day on the wrecks, but it's perfect for a mixed day's fishing. So by that I mean you would get slightly longer amount of time on the wrecks because the tide's not quite as strong, so it slows and speeds up a lot less, so you get more time to fish on the wrecks, and also some rough ground fishing. And that is exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to tailor my fishing around how I would approach it. So if you love shad fishing, then bring your shad fishing gear. But I would also say it doesn't matter whether you're bait fishing or shad fishing. If you literally put all your eggs in one basket, you don't have options if something doesn't work. In particular, shad fishing, they work well in tide. I find personally that when the tide slackens off and there's not so much tide, they're not quite as effective. So around that slack water period, which is the time between high water and low water, where the tide stops going one way and turns to come back the other, so when it's very slow on the drift, I find that the shads don't work particularly well up here fishing on how we do. So at that point, that's when I would ordinarily maybe drop down on a bait trace. You usually, there's very little point actually fishing on the rough ground at slack water. The key to fishing rough ground is drifting and covering the ground. So if you're not moving anywhere, unless you're sat on a pocket of fish, it's obviously going to be fairly hard work. Fishing in a wreck, on the other hand, you're actually on the structure where the fish live. So it can happen that a nosy old ling will stick its nose out of the wreck and, and grab hold of a bait on slack water. So that's exactly what I'll do today. At the moment, so we've got about 2 hours before the tide starts to ease. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to run out to an area of rough ground, only at 3 miles, and we'll do some drift fishing on rough ground using the shads. I'll be able to show you the way that I fish them. It's not complicated, it's very simple, and hopefully we'll catch a few fish, and you can see that they are actually a really good method, because they are. I absolutely adore shad fishing. If I could only do one other form, one form of fishing on the boat for the rest of my life, it would be shad fishing. It's absolutely great fun. Right, we're just coming out of the pier ends now. It's a bonny morning, it really is. It'll take me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to run out to the ground. So we'll do that, and I'll see you when we get out there. Right, so we're out here on the 3 mile ground. Before I start fishing, just thought we'd have a quick run through the equipment that we use. For shadding, I use a much lighter setup. So for my ground fishing, bait fishing, as in using the Muppet bait traces, I use a 2040 class rod. For my shadding, I use a much lighter rod. So this is a Century Eliminator. This has superseded the Excalibur, the Century Excalibur, which is the rod that I use for my ground fishing. I've recently picked this rod up, the Century Eliminator. I'm not sponsored, I paid for it. It is absolutely beautiful. This is a 1220 class rod, so much lighter, and it really is light. It's absolutely beautiful. You can hold it all day, you can jig, no problem at all. It doesn't wear you out. I've got that together with the Daiwa Saltiga lever drag reel. Now this is one size down, so on my other rod, on my other outfit for my bait fishing, I use the 35 class, or the 35 size reel, which is bigger than this one. For my shadding, because again, lightness and weight is everything, this is the 20 size reel. It's nice, it's dinky. Don't be fooled, this is a seriously powerful reel. 12 kilos of drag. I mean, I'd break the rod before the reel went. It's absolutely gorgeous. I can, if you're looking and thinking, oh, what shall I get? I mean, for me, I don't think it gets much better than this. On the reel, I have got 50-pound braid. In contrast to my bait fishing reel, which has 60-pound, I'll call it value braid. It's quite thick and robust. For jigging, because I'm only going to be using a 10-ounce lead, I want the thinnest braid that I can possibly get. The reason for that is the thickness or the diameter of the line is actually important in tide. The thicker the diameter, the more tide it will catch. So for the purposes of shadding, I am happy to spend the money for so this is premium jigging braid. I think it's the Varivas braid, so it's £50. It is absolutely, it's thin as you like, it is silky smooth, and yeah, I just can't fault it. So something else, if you're thinking what to put on, I can recommend it. I'd be very surprised if anybody's got anything bad to say about this braid. It's got good knot strength as well. I can tell when when I break it off that it's breaking at around £50. So yeah, great stuff. So that's the rod and reel. And then what do we stick on the end of it? So my normal, I'll pick this up now. So my normal snap swivel on the end of my braid. To that, I just have a short section. I'll do it that way so I can see. I have a short section of, so this is what I call my lead boom. So I have my lead on the bottom on a clip here, a bead, a 200-pound swivel, and another bead. And basically, that's the hook trace there that you can see. That slides up and down there. Now, I didn't used to do that. I just used to clip my trace into the bottom next to the lead. But I did get tangles. And I've tried rigging it up this way, which I believe the rig experts would say is like Alderney style. And it's definitely reduced the amount of tangles that I get. I know I've got some extra equipment that if I get stuck I'm going to lose, but I think it's worth it, I really do. This boom line here, this is £50 fluorocarbon. And then all I've got after that, attached onto there, is my trace, which is 5 feet, about 5 feet, I don't measure it, about 5 feet of £40 fluorocarbon. On the end of it, I have that little white clip that you can see there. That is what's called a Termalink Trident tackle maker. I think it's absolutely brilliant because I'll change my shads quite a lot during the course of a session. That I just want something that's really that's a firm clip, but I can just literally slide on, slide off. So that's what I use. And then you've got the shad itself. This particular one is what we call a rhubarb and custard. And there are literally thousands and thousands of shads that you can use. I'm sure, it's endless. But I tend to stick, you develop your favourites through the course of time. And shad fishing is all about confidence. And you put on something that you like, I've had really good results previously using X, Y, Z. At Whitby, these boys, can't really go wrong with them. So these are the slightly larger ones. These are like the sand eel type pattern. And I have got an enormous box full of many patterns. I've got a handful So I picked 3 out. These will all be going on at some point today, no doubt. So you've got that sand eel pattern there, that rhubarb and custard sand eel pattern. These are the sidewinders. These are the 4-inch ones. I think they're 28 grams. I use those quite a lot as well. In, again, various colours. They come in all kinds, pinks, yellows, whites, blues. So, yep, I use those. Then a different coloured sand eel. I have all sorts of them. And then the one that I really do like to use a lot is this boy here, which is just jelly worm. They can be used for all sorts, but I find, you know, we've had some great success using jelly worms. Orange is my favourite. Confidence. Orange is my favourite. But black and reds, we use those a lot. They're quite tidy for picking pollock up when you wind up over the wrecks. But when it comes to shad fishing, the world is your oyster. You can literally try whatever you want. Does colour make a difference? Does size make a difference? When the fish are feeding hard, you would think that nothing makes a difference. They'll just take it. But certainly some days you put, you know, you'll drift over an area on rough ground and you don't get anything. You change your shad, you drift over a similar area, and all of a sudden you get one. You're like, oh, was it the shad? Or, you know, you don't really know 100%. But you see patterns emerge on the boat. If you've got 2 or 3 people fishing shads, one will pick one up on a rhubarb and custard, and that's it. Everybody will switch over to them. It's just the nature of the beast. Right, enough waffle. Time for a bit of fishing. I'm going to say I'm on the 3 mile ground. All I'm going to do now is just set up a couple of drifts and show you basically how we go through fishing on the rough ground. Hopefully we'll get a few fish in between while we're drifting about. You never know. I'm going to set a drift up now and then we'll get going. So we'll have our first drop. Just running across this piece of ground to set up my drift, and I've just seen, well, I don't know whether it'll come out or not. I got it on my mobile phone, but I've just seen my first minke whale of the year. Just breached twice in front of us. Okay, so away we go. When you go to drop down, you need to, what you want to try and do is make sure that when it hits the water, that your lead and your shad are separated from each other. It helps reduce tangles. So that's it. We're away. Just the same as when you drop with a normal bait trace. Feel the line braid, running under my thumb. Stop these overruns when it gets to the bottom. I mean, this is a live fishing situation, so whilst I've come to the rough ground, because we're on a 5 metre tide, I expected to be drifting quite a bit, but I've just checked and we're not really moving at all, which on rough ground isn't great. You want to be moving to cover the areas. So what I'll do is I'm going to have one drift. If we don't get anything, I'm just going to move us straight onto a wreck next door. There's plenty of wrecks around here, so we'll move and have a go on them. So as you can see, all I'm doing is the lead's down on the bottom and I'm literally just jigging it. I did say it wasn't difficult. In these situations, in these conditions, it's very easy to do. The line's going straight up and down. If the wind's blowing and the lines start to stream, it becomes more difficult. So this is absolutely ideal. What you've got to try and do is picture what's happening down on the bottom. So you've got the flowing trace that comes off the lead. As you're lifting your lead up, the shad follows it, so it just hops up off the bottom. And then as you lower back down, it will settle. And that's literally all you need to do on the rough ground. I can feel, so you need to know that you're not tangled. And you can tell. When you're fishing with braid, so the lead's on the bottom. Now when you lift, the lead comes up, and then a small, really short period of time afterwards when you lift, you'll feel a tiny little flicker, which is the shad. Oh, there we go, we've got one. Yeah, you'll feel a tiny little flicker, and that is the shad lifting up. So you know that it's not tangled and it's working. If you do half a dozen lifts and you don't feel that flicker, then it's worth quickly winding up and having a check, because if it's tangled up, obviously you're not going to get any bites. This is only a small fish, but I'll be honest, I'd already decided, right, I'm going to go and fish a wreck, but, well, I've had one now, so we'll persevere with it for a little bit longer. What is it? Yeah, a little codlin, hooked fair and square in the mouth. What you'll find sometimes when you're fishing with shad is only a small one. But, as you can see, he's hooked rhubarb and custard. He wanted that, he's hooked fair and square, right in the mush. I'll just take this shad out. Gosh. That's it. Yeah, nice little start. I mean, it's just great fun, because 1 minute you're feeling nothing, and then the next minute you've got a fish on. That's why I love shad fishing. You don't get pestered by whiting and pouting going tap, 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 and stripping your bait off your hooks. It's literally, you've either got a fish on or you haven't. It's great, it really is. And on a lighter set of gear, mega. Even these, even that bent the rod, and it's tiny. What, £1.5 pound? Oh, right. Let's pop him back and have another drop. Let's have another drop, see if we can't find a bigger brother. There we go. This water's really clearing out. 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was like, it was like tea fishing here. Oh, well, you didn't fish here, but when you came through it, you literally, visibility was practically nothing. Now, I can see the shad dropping down. It must be, 20 feet, 30 feet, something like that. Because the one thing that you do need for shad fishing is you want water clarity. It definitely makes a big difference. Don't get me wrong, the fish, the predators, and their lateral line allows them to sense vibration. That's why when your lure's wiggling, they can sense that as well. So, but it's like if you fish in mucky water with a shad, you're reducing. You've lost a lot of the benefit of fishing with if you lose the sight element, then all that's left is the pulse, because they're not really flavoured. They're just, so it's sight and movement. So in dirty water, you're like losing 50% of its effectiveness. So that's why it's nearly always a good indicator that the water's fairly clear when you're getting them. Also, when it's mucky, you do tend to foul hook more fish, because they've sensed it but they can't see it. Oh, there's another one. Yeah, they've sensed the bait, but they couldn't see it properly, and when they've swiped at it, all that's happened is they've missed it and the hook's gone in anyway. I don't know whether this is foul hooked, because it's just coming up like a dead weight now. There is literally zero fight. So this could be a foul hooked one. Yeah. It's not a spectacular fight at all. It's like winding up a pair of pants. Oh, we got a little bit of a quiver then. But to be honest, I don't care. It's great fun. I love shad fishing. What is it? Oh. He wrapped himself up. It's a little tiny ling. It wasn't foul hook, but he'd spun on the trace, that's why there was no fight. As you can see, this one, it happens a lot when you're shad fishing. He's hooked himself under his chin. Saying that he's such a small ling that he's got a tiny mouth, so the chances are that that's it. Come on. Now. Yeah, the chances are it wouldn't have got that in its mouth anyway. I'll just have a quick. Yeah, he should be okay to go back. You can see where the line's wrapped around him. So yeah, you've got these lovely blue colours on them, the ling. Really pretty. They're actually pretty fish. They've got some pretty serious gnashers. Right, we'll get him back. There he goes. Just check my drift area there. I'm not moving far at all. We'll keep going for another half an hour and just see if we can't find anything any better. Yeah, the stamp of fish size hasn't been amazing on the rough ground this year. I'm happy getting bites. Don't think I'm moaning. It's great fun, but every now and again when you chuck in a bigger fish, just keeps things interesting, doesn't it? Dunk. Down on the bottom. I mean, this is an absolute doddle today. Just jigging straight up and down. I can feel it working perfectly. Dunk. As it lifts off the bottom. The good thing about shad fishing on rough ground as well is you tend, because it's just rough ground, you don't tend to lose a great deal of gear because you're continually hopping it up and down. So for any of the tightwads amongst you, save some money and fish shads on rough ground. What I did do for that second one was, I left, instead of being really, so when I dropped to the bottom, instead of going real quick, like 1, 2, what I did was I left it down a fraction longer, so to make sure it had properly settled, and then I lifted it. So we'll try that and see if that does make a difference. All these small little details can make a big difference. You don't have the luxury of really being able to do this when you're fishing the shads in the wrecks, because you've got to keep them on the move, otherwise you get stuck with a long flowing trace. But hopping it on rough ground, you can vary the amount of time that you leave it on the bottom before you lift it. I'm literally going to give it another couple of minutes and then I'm going to go and fish a wreck. Right, so I've parked us just at the side of the wreck. We're going to slowly creep on. Not for any particular reason, but why not? We'll have a change. I'll take this one off and we'll try a different colour. Tell you what, let's try a jelly worm, because I love jelly worms. So, orange jelly worm. Away we go. I can see on my echo sounder that we've just crept onto the wreck. So when you're going to try and hop it on the wreck, There's two techniques really on the wreck. You can hop it or you can wind it. Some people just wind, they go to the bottom and then they just wind up. I prefer, I'm gonna try hopping through it first. But what you can't do in the wreck really is leave it a long time from when the lead touches down. You see how much I'm putting as much action as I can. Not real short lifts, quite long lifts. And plus, we're on the wreck, so the wreck's obviously undulating, so the depth changes. I just had to pay off some line then, so it reached the bottom. What I'm going to do as well, because, oh, there's a fish. What I was just about to say was, even though this is a shadding, but you know, based on shadding, what I will do is, if I'm not getting any bites, especially on a wreck, if I'm not getting any bites, then I have my other rods set up behind me, and I did fetch a bag of squid, and I will have a drop down on a bait trace, just so I can establish whether it's that they're not really interested in chasing the shads about, but they'll eat a bait. And then if neither work, then it's a case of move on, you know. What have we got this term? Codling, I think. Yeah, codling. Once again, hooked under his chin, swiping at him. So yeah, orange jelly worm. They work. It's got a little, I think it's like a 12 gram jig head on it. Right. He's just going to the toilet, dirty Herbert. So we'll pop him back. There we go. I don't know whether you can see him in the sun. I'm trying to turn a little bit. But yeah, so that worked. Back he goes. Hello everyone. Mid-break through the video, and for good reason. The stuff that you just watched, whilst I felt that I covered the techniques as to how we do it, and gave an explanation of the tackle that we use, it wasn't ultimately particularly fishy, was it? We had 3 small fish, so I came back in that day. I only fished for sort of 2.5 hours, but it was hard going. And I came in and thought, well, I'm going to have to go out and revisit it and try and do it again at another point. And then once the dust had settled and actually took the footage off the camera that I'd done, I thought, well, I've covered the majority of the things that I wanted to cover. What I actually needed was sort of to round it off with a few fish to prove the concepts, if you like, that I've explained about. And that's what I'm going to do. So apologies for looking a complete and utter mess. Today was boat maintenance day. I've been doing oil changes and filters and various other bits and pieces. And tomorrow I'm going to go out fishing with a good friend of mine, Ian Kellock. He loves his shad fishing, as do I. So I thought what we'll do is we'll kind of split this video into 2 bits. The first bit doing almost the theory, if you like, and then fingers crossed tomorrow when me and Ian go out, we'll catch a few fish and sort of prove the concept. That's the plan anyway. Right, ready? Yep, as promised last night, out today with my friend Ian. We're just going to have a couple of drops, see if we can't find a few. We've come to a wreck just over 3 miles from Whitby. It's a fairly big tide this morning. It's a 5.2 still. So the window's going to be fairly short for us. We're just running into slack water now. So what have you started with, Ian? What have you put on?
I'm on a jelly worm for a start.
Orange by any chance?
Yeah, orange one. How did you guess?
We like an orange jelly worm.
Yeah.
We're just coming onto the wreck now.
Well,
Yeah.
I got off.
Yeah.
See if I can find it then.
I need to make a little bit of line on that.
Yeah.
Shad's still working, I can feel it flicking.
Yeah. Still on.
Yeah. That's a real split. I think we must be coming into slack fairly fast, Ian, to be honest, because we're only just literally seeing the end of the wreck now.
Must have dropped right on it, haven't we? Right on slack.
That's maybe why they're not working.
Yeah.
Well, if you,
I'll go back down with a shad.
I'll put a squid on.
Yeah.
And just see if there is some fish down there. So we'll see if we can prove the theory that shads don't work so well at slack water.
Shad versus bait, eh?
Shad versus bait.
Well, you found one. A decent one.
Nah, I think it'd be one of them little strapling or a small codling. It's nothing much of any size here.
Oh, well, at least there's one down there.
Yeah, it goes to show though, doesn't it, that we always say the shads, you want a bit of tide running really to get the best from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although you do get days, don't you? Where, especially if you've got a bit of wind on that keeps the boat moving, you can sometimes cover them.
Oh dear.
Yeah, little codling.
And that's my shad that's stuck. I can feel the lead.
Little wreck dweller.
Yeah.
And pop him back. Now, I've said in the other bit about, you know, if you come for the day, just putting all your eggs in one basket, and you know, there'll be parts of the day where it is a disadvantage not to have, like at the moment.
Yeah.
It appears that you do need a bit of bait. So it's all, you know, if you have, I used to always come as shads as kind of my main approach really, but I always used to bring bait.
You got one?
Yeah, I think it's another one of them about the same size as the last two.
Here he comes.
Yeah, same as the last two. Ain't the same fish, is it? It just keeps swimming back to the bottom.
No, it's a bit differently marked, that one.
Oh, little bite from somewhere or other then.
Found another one.
He's just got back down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a very similar.
I hope it's a small ling, so you can at least say it's not the same fish. It's nodding like a codling, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a codling. I'll have to tell you, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she was asking, what's the difference between a codling and a cod?
Right.
I was saying, obviously, a codling's a smaller fish, and then when they get a bit bigger, they get called cod. Ah, right. She goes, well, what do you call a baby ling? Is it a ling-ling?
No, that's a telephone.
That's what a telephone does, yeah.
Yeah. We always used to reckon a cod was over £6.
That's a slinky.
Yeah. Look what you've been fast on.
Yeah.
On the bottom of your hook.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm surprised I managed to
we
get
used
out.
to reckon if it was over £6, it was a cod, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the actual definition is by rights, if there is one.
Yeah. Very slinky, that one. Well, I think that's made the point, hasn't it?
Yeah. Slack
Bait
water.
against Shads at slack, that's,
Yeah.
4-0.
Yeah.
Makes me think why they don't, is it because they don't fish it? Because obviously there's fish down there that are feeding on bait. Is it just that the shad's not working as well as it can? Is that why we don't get bites so much at slack? Or
I don't
seems
know.
strange, doesn't it?
It's maybe when the tide's running, it pushes the bait fish about more, and they're easier to
Yeah.
catch. You know what I mean? I don't know why. It's always been the case. It seems to be. Yeah, you can catch them, but it's usually better. They're usually the hour of slack or whatever slack is.
Yeah.
It's usually bait, and then as soon as tide gets away, you're back on your shads and you're usually straight in again. But it's like you say, it's maybe because the tide isn't working, your shad isn't working properly. Because you do come up tangled, don't you, when it's slack
Yeah,
water?
I can. I try and picture it. When you lift your lead,
Yeah.
there's no tide to push it. Your
your
shad away,
shad's
is there?
maybe just
It's
dangling
too close.
underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be.
Right.
Right, I'll give it a go then.
It's so much nicer using this
yeah.
rod's so light by comparison to lugging that thing that's got 16 ounces of lead on.
Handling that smelly squid all the time.
I know.
Get it all over your rod.
And stink. Yeah, just come on to it now. Definitely on the wreck. I'm definitely on the wreck. Because 1 minute I was really high and then next minute
I had to lower it quite a lot further. God, we're definitely. Oh, my luck's changed.
Oh, I felt it then. Are you? I was just about to do a retrieve. Oh, I think that's
You got one?
fishage.
Well done. Is it a better one? Do you want me
It's
to put
a
mine
bit
down?
lively.
Do you want me to get the camera thing?
It's all right. It's a bit lively to start with there. I don't know whether this might be a pollock.
They usually give up after a few turns, and then they get second wind and go again, don't they?
Yeah. You got one?
Yep.
Lovely. Tide's obviously got going again.
Yeah.
Well, saying that, we can't just automatically say that it's the tide because we've just come to a new wreck. So
I think I've fouled up, man.
And what have you got on?
A little orange goldfish.
Right.
4-inch goldfish. Yours is a codling, and you've wrapped him around me now. Oh well, never mind. What a performance. Get your fishing, mate. Give me your lead.
It's only lightly up, so it might drop off.
That's the better one though, isn't it?
But at least he's hooked in his mouth.
Yep. He's just swum round it, hasn't he?
Yeah. I love the fact that you don't get deep hooked fish either.
Yeah.
I'll just...
Yeah, you do what you've got to do and we'll sort this out in a minute.
So, you can see he's a wreck dweller. His fins are a bit worn where they travel in and out of the wreck. And he's got all sorts of bumps and marks on him, but yeah, nice. Right, go back down and have another go. Cool. There's only two of us on this boat and we've managed to get tangled up.
No, you've managed to tangle me up, I think. It's just the fish swam around the line, hasn't it? 3 times, I reckon. 1, 2.
Oh, come on,
Oh
Andy.
dear. Oh, it's gone a bit more than 3.
One more. There we go.
There you go.
Cheers, Ian.
You've only done that so my hand get off. I think it's only a foul up leg.
Is yours still on?
I don't.
We're still in it, so...
It's still on.
Right.
I think it's foul up though, he's not
Are
kicking.
you going to need
at all.
my assistance, or...?
I shouldn't think so.
I'll stand back a bit, so...
Oh, it's foul up, little ling, look.
All right, yeah, under his chin.
Nearly in the mouth.
Oh, I've got another.
Yeah. Hey, he'll go straight back that one because he ain't blown out, you see, with him having a rest on the way up.
We should have come to this wreck
Yeah,
first.
blooming.
I blame Skipper.
Skipper brought us to the wrong wreck. Oh, well, that's good. I hope that's another better one than it's...
Don't, you know, it's all right. It's not. But when you got these, when you're using a lighter rod,
It takes some
They
getting
don't-
used to,
they-
doesn't it, when you've
yeah.
been using your big heavy gear?
they don't need to be massive fish
No.
to give you a real good fight, do they?
Well, that's what it's all about, though, isn't it? So,
So I've got that. What is it? Bluey mackerel-y type pattern on.
yeah,
I'm not sure that it makes a huge amount. When they're feeding, it's just like they seem to clonk anything.
I think it bothers us more than it bothers them.
Yeah.
The actual colour and shape of the shad.
Yeah, it's confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's this one going?
Here he comes. Lassoed him.
It's wrapped around his nose.
Someone said he had a bash on the head.
No, he was hooked in his mouth. It's just
Yeah,
he's
it's just-
spun on the trace.
Rolled up it a bit.
But he's another wreck fishy, and look, he's
Yep.
got marks
Big
on his
chunk
head.
off his head. He hadn't been watching what he was doing. He swum into it and he banged his head on the steps
That's
or
it.
something.
There we go. Yeah, another one. That was a bit of a belly flop. 3 out of 10. Right, Ian.
All right.
Here we go.
That just shows you another thing as well, Shadding. You've got 2 fish on that drift. Whereas if you're bait fishing, you've got to mess about rebaiting and that, and you probably wouldn't have got down back in time.
More often than not, yeah. Yeah.
You know, by the time you got baited up, ready to go, it'd have been too far gone. It wouldn't have been worth going back down.
Yeah.
It's wet.
That's a good fish.
Yeah. I hope it's got my shadding from last time. That will prove it, won't it? Oh, you got one.
Yeah. Getting all seem to get a like vibration, juddering. I had the same on that other fish, and it just done the same again there.
It's that rod. Give you £1 for it.
£1?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want that much.
Well, that I meant with a reel as well.
Oh. Any size to it?
It feels okay.
Yeah.
It's doing the same as what you said though, it's shuddering rather than nodding.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe cold, maybe shivering.
Well, it's overcast today.
Yeah. Had a little nod then.
I've got a backwards codling.
Yeah, well I probably have then. Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Well, there you go. I don't know whether they're going to drop off or not, but that's...
Hooked in the tail is yours.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah. Yeah, oh, hooked in the tail.
And anything you can do.
So, 2 hooked in the tails.
But it doesn't damage the teeth, does it?
No, I'll get him straight back. My gum. I'm not used to unhooking them
No,
back to front.
It's gone right under his...
That's it.
Can't get him.
Pop mine back.
Just hang on to... Oh, yeah, okay then. Thank you.
There we go.
There you go, little lad. Yeah, bad pan-sized fish them if you wanted them for your tea.
No. No, we're still on the wreck here, and let's get up.
Let's go and see if we can get one in the mouth, eh?
Yeah.
Weird, isn't
Isn't
it?
that strange?
Yeah.
Both in the tail. I told them divers that are down there hooking the fish on to put them in the mouths or under the chins or something.
You aren't the winding us up at that there.
That maybe explains why they were getting that juddering.
Yeah, the one. Yeah. Usually feel them the tail beating as they're swimming back down.
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me.
Right, we've maybe just come off it here.
Right, and we're coming up.
Yeah, let's go back round. Just maximise the amount of time.
Nope.
Thought tide gets...
Got one.
You got one?
Yeah.
I'll drop back down then, eh?
Yep. I was just going to say, you sometimes get one straight off the back, don't you?
Yeah. I'll give it another minute then.
This one feels as though it could be up fair and square.
Oh, there's one. This is a small fish. But it's nice getting the bites.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It is, yeah. To me, it's a lot nicer way of fishing this than bait fishing.
Oh,
it's
fantastic.
especially when you're getting one or two. It's
I just love the fact that it's either on or off.
yeah. There's none of that nibble.
You don't have to
nibble
wait for a bite to develop at
is
all.
my
It's
bait
just
on. And usually though, when your shad's, you can usually feel if your shad's working properly. You can't always, but oh, that's not bad. One.
I did.
That's a bigger one for you, Andy. Do you want a net?
Oh dear. Oh, you're making me look like a mug there. That's a nice one.
Is he going to lift?
Tiny, tiny little codling versus proper sized codling.
There's your jelly worm there. That's better.
Ah, that's it.
Thank you.
You're in the other way. Your fish, Ian, very nice.
Yeah.
Nice, he's not too bad actually, quite clean fish.
Yeah, it's fairly clean, isn't it, that one?
Yeah. We'll stick him
We'll
back.
get him next week.
They're not very good at diving this morning. Right, Ian, we'll make this the last drift on camera.
Yep.
This rain might be a bit more persistent, so we've had a few at least, so we can carry on fishing, can't we?
Yeah.
Oh, I think
Go
I'm
on.
stuck. No, I think I'm stuck. Oh, I got it out. I'll wind this up a bit.
Yeah, I think I maybe should.
Oh, there we go. Though.
Unwinding.
Yeah. Small, whatever it is.
Well, it's a fish.
It's a fish instead of a wreck.
A wreck, yeah.
Because I think that was inevitable if I'd continued.
Ooh, that was nearly the wreck and all. And there he comes. Pollock.
It's a pollock.
Yeah, nice one.
That sort of quantifies everything, doesn't
Yeah.
it? The winding up, you normally get pollock. The only thing I didn't do was put on a black and red jelly worm.
Yeah.
And that would have been tick the box.
Textbook.
Yeah. There we go. Is it back, mister?
The only thing we haven't had is a decent ling.
Yeah.
And I've got the wreck.
Yeah, so nice little pollock. And if this weather turns, this will probably be the last fish you see on camera. If I get it out again, it means the weather's okay. Me and Ian are going to continue fishing for the rest of the day, but if you've taken the time to watch us, thanks very much. Cheers.